Teacher Talk and Sports, what it does, what it do, how we live. And if you ask people who had the sweetest swing they ever saw in MLB, there are going to be a lot of people that are going to answer that question with Ken Griffey Jr. That swing helped Ken Griffey Jr. hit over 600 homers in his career and become a first ballot Hall of Famer in what was a legendary career. But his career ended in 2010, so it's been 13 years since we've last seen that swing on our TVs. But can we see it again? This is via Jayson Starks, Twitter baseball writer at The Athletic. He writes, "If you do it, I'll do it. New from me. A Legends home run derby at the All-Star game. It could happen. Four all-time greats are already in. Here's what it could look like. And the legends whose hearts are racing, just think about it." So he wrote this article on The Athletic yesterday. I'm not going to share it because Athletic's behind the paywall, but let me get into how it's kind of went down and how the possibility has arisen. As you see, Griffey's on the screen on his tweet. Yes, Ken Griffey Jr. is a part of it. So let me mention what Jayson Stark wrote. He mentioned how as the actual home run derby approached, so the home run derby was last Monday, Griffey strolled over to the set of MLB Network's MLB Tonight show where Albert Pujols asked him, "So are we going to see you in the home run derby tonight?" "If you do it," Griffey said, staring him in the eye, "I'll do it. Let's do it," Pujols said with a laugh, but not totally kidding. Why not? So there's two guys right there, Griffey and Albert Pujols. It even mentioned how um, MLB Network's Greg Amsinger mentioned how Pete Alonso had a chance to become a three-time winner of the home run derby. He didn't. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. won. That would tie him for Ken Griffey Jr. for the most. Griffey said if you gave him a year to prepare, where it's just me and Pete, um, maybe he would have a chance. And he had his pride in there. He still wants that record. Watching at his home in Illinois as Griffey uttered those words was Jim Tomei. So he wrote to Amsinger, sent them a text. "If Griffey's gonna get ready, maybe I'll jump in there too," he wrote. "I would do it in a hot second," Pujols said. Pujols sauntered back into the production trailer. "I just saw David Ortiz. I told him about our idea," Pujols reported. "He said he's in all the way." So that is four guys right there, all historic players: Ken Griffey Jr., Albert Pujols, Jim Tomei, and Big Papi David Ortiz. So would it be like an actual home run derby? Probably not. Remember, these guys are older, they're retired from the game. So Jayson Stark gave a good idea of what can happen. Now, in the 1950s and 1960s, they had these home run derbies in black and white. I remember watching them. I wasn't alive back then, but they re-aired them. I believe it was on ESPN Classic, and I would watch them. They were basically 9 inning games, so you'd get 3 outs. If you didn't hit a homer on a swing, it was an out, and if you hit a homer, it was a run and no out. So maybe they could do that in the home run derby, where these guys wouldn't have to swing as much. And he also mentioned how they could have teams, which I think is a good idea because some of these guys have been out of the game a lot longer. As I mentioned, Griffey's been out since 2010. Albert Pujols played just last season. So Stark didn't mention this, but maybe they can make teams depending on how long the guy's been out of MLB. So maybe have a team where a guy's been out 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, and have each team set up like that to make it a little more fair. And then let's say the team has 3 players. One player could bat the first, fourth, seventh innings, second, fifth, and eighth, and third, sixth, and ninth. Who else would you like to see besides those four guys? Some guys that came up in my head. I thought about Gary Sheffield just because I remember how fast his bat would go through. Quickest hands in the game. That I recall seeing. I would love to see if Gary Sheffield still got that speed with his hands and the bat. Maybe an Alfonso Soriano. He famously had one of the heaviest bats in the game, and he hit, I believe, over 400 career homers with it. But the one guy I'd really want to see, and I know some people may not because of things he's done, Barry Bonds. I feel like Barry Bonds would be must see TV. Get Barry Bonds in that Legends Home Run Derby. I'm not sure he would do it. Maybe a Mark McGuire, Sammy Sosa. Um, I don't know if you'd recognize Sammy Sosa, but if you don't know what I'm talking about, you could Google it. But guys like that, even a Jose Canseco would be kind of funny to watch. A lot of guys, Ryan Howard, Prince Fielder. I could go on. I don't know how old Darryl Strawberry is now, maybe 60, but it would be cool seeing him as well. But let me know some guys you would like to see in this Legends Home Run Derby. Would you be interested in it? Would you be more interested in it than the actual Home Run Derby? I think I would. I'm not sure younger people would who weren't around to see these guys, but for nostalgic reasons, I would love to see it. But let's hope they could get something done. Of course, this isn't set in stone that it's gonna happen. They'd have to, figure some things out. But I'm really keeping my fingers crossed that uh, either next year or sometime soon we get to see the Legends Hall of Fame Derby. Anyhow, don't forget to subscribe. Tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend to subscribe. Like the video, share the video, hit the bell for notifications. I'm out.